Welcome to this masterclass, which will tackle a key question as to whether quality drives innovation or whether quality comes in the way of innovation. Peter Drucker once said, the essential purpose of a business is to create a customer. And if that is the case, therefore, customers are equated with fulfillment of needs and expectations and delightfulness by handing over to them the things that they crave for, or the things that are essential to their lives, or the services that will enable them to plan their own needs and requirements. In a way, we are talking about handing over value through innovation. So the question is really that quality reminds producers of new products and developments that the customer exists, that the voice of the customer needs to be heard loud and clear, and that the translation of their needs and expectations is done in a systematic way with particular emphasis on features that address their needs, but also in terms of the expectation that the customized approaches used to provide value are clearly adhered to. One therefore needs to look at innovation as a total package, or if we wanted to coin the word, total innovation management. The second thing is that innovation has to be measured through life cycle, not just in terms of the newness of the idea, the product or the service, but it is the process of translation of needs and expectations, the development of prototypes, the testing, the feedback, then the scaling up in terms of producing precisely what customers needs, and therefore launching into the market on a large scale basis. So the impact of innovation, first and foremost, needs to be evaluated from the customer perspective, and also on the impact the innovation has created in terms of delightfulness. And innovation is a cycle that is ongoing. It's therefore a closed loop in terms of the learning and development and the iterations on existing innovations, but also the launch of needs that have not been addressed previously and which the customer appreciates. So what can we learn from this masterclass? There are perhaps 5 key lessons. The number one is that innovation has to be customer-centric. The focus has to be on protecting the existing customer base and making sure that those customers are taken care of in terms of replenishment, in terms of addressing future needs, in terms of delightfulness, by giving them something that they hadn't even thought through. And with the development of digital opportunity, perhaps making the customer an essential partner in developing innovations for the future. The second thing is that customer-centric innovation is really an individualization, a personalization process, which represents the intellectual capital of the organization. So if it is customer-centric, therefore the customer is the king, the customer is heavily involved, and the customer experience becomes the paramount necessity of developing new products and services. The third aspect perhaps is to use disruptiveness by making sure that innovation does not become stale as a process and does not limit itself to nudging, optimizing and polishing existing innovations, but rather to drive an iterative process, a closed loop, a process through learning and development, but a disruptive process through an open system where the leap forward is on exploiting opportunities, and particularly facilitated by the pervasiveness of digital technology. The fourth aspect in this is perhaps to look at the customer as a partner in co-creating innovation. And that means that innovation in terms of value does not limit itself to a classical way of assessing the value linked directly to products, linked directly to services, and limiting the features and the essentialities of value to innovation that is tangible. More and more, the emphasis is going to be on the experience, where the value is perhaps intangible, where the emotional aspects, the psychological aspects, the social aspects that really customers value become the critical feature that will enhance the value proposition. So in a way, the lesson number 4 is to deliver the essential through experimentation in order to always look at customization through personalization. But this needs to be addressed with caution, because as the classic saying goes, we have to be careful not to throw the baby with the bathwater. So experimentation is an essential attribute of modern innovation management, but experimentation not at the detriment of destroying the value proposition as a whole. Perhaps the last consideration for this masterclass is that the planning of innovation in the modern context becomes more challenging because of the unknown, because of the disruptiveness through new technology, because of the moving and changing needs and expectations of customers, and because, of course, of the social media that bring in different stakeholders into the ideation stage, but also into the evaluation stage, and in terms of dictating what the value creation and the value capture aspects of innovation are going to look like. The quote from Machiavelli is quite relevant in this context. It goes like this: there is nothing more difficult to plan, more doubtful of success, no more dangerous to manage than the creation of a new system. For the initiator has the enmity of all who would profit by the preservation of institution, and merely lukewarm defenders in those who would gain by the new one. So we live in an era where total innovation management requires gutsy leadership, the leadership of experimentation, the leadership of disruption, and the leadership that believes that customer centricity will always be at the heart of all the endeavors of an organization that is keen to make the big leaps and that is keen to achieve a dominant position through innovativeness. So the model that could be proposed is that there is a continuum of experimentation and the facilitation of customer engagement through co-creation, for example, and which results in different levels of commitment, different levels of loyalty. So as the engagement of customers becomes deeper and touching the different points and the life cycle of innovation management, the loyalty will increase because the customer feels that they are designing, developing, experimenting with their own individualized and personalized experiences. So the reaction of loyalty becomes more intense, moving from an esteem to an empathy to an excitement to an elation perspective where the emotional attachment is extremely high. and where happiness can be measured at ease. So until the next masterclass, we wish you all the very best.